Great to have you guys with us. Eric, I'm going to start with you because there's a lot of crypto treasury companies out there at the moment. You think about Michael Saylor's strategy being the most prominent of them all. What differentiates American Bitcoin?
Well, Katie, at its core, we have a great mining business, right? Right now, we're mining Bitcoin at roughly 50 cents on the dollar to the actual price of Bitcoin. We're mining a lot of it. We're using the Hut 8 infrastructure in order to do so, and so we've got an unbelievable advantage. I mean, we've got hundreds of millions of dollars of hard assets, data centers behind us, mining operations every single day, which allows you to kind of dollar cost average down the Bitcoin that you actually do take on your balance sheet and the ones that you go out and accumulate. And so, while everybody has to accumulate at par, for us, we're able to mine at a substantial discount to par, and I think that gives us an unbelievable advantage. And so, just simply put, you have probably the greatest asset in terms of appreciation over the last 10 years, averaging 60, 70% a year over year, that you're mining for a 50% discount to total value. It's a pretty simple concept to figure out. So we're incredibly excited about the debut. We have massive aspirations to be the absolute best crypto company anywhere on Earth. I think you know how hard we all charge, and we're pretty known for that, and we're having a lot of fun doing this.
Well, Asher, let's talk a little bit more about Hut 8. So they, of course, provided all of the mining equipment to American Bitcoin. Give us the breakdown here. What does Hut 8 get out of this arrangement?
Hut 8 is one of the largest shareholders of American Bitcoin. So to start, we want the equity value of American Bitcoin to appreciate. Hut 8 is long infrastructure. We believe that all technologies that push humanity forward end up relying on additional consumption of energy. So how do we harness an electron and push those technologies forward? Whether that be the blockchain in Bitcoin and or AI in data centers and other advanced manufacturing use cases. And so American Bitcoin helping us go long energy, develop more infrastructure is core to the Hut 8 business, where at American Bitcoin, we're long Bitcoin. And so that was something that became more and more of a hot item, where at Hut 8, we were a Bitcoin mining business, a Bitcoin treasury, and an energy business. And so we had shareholders that were long energy, shareholders were long Bitcoin, and there started to be some conflict. And so we said, hey, it's about time that we think about carving out these assets. Eric and his brother were building American data centers. We brought those efforts together and thought we could build a bigger company together. And so today, we have Hut 8, that's a listed company on the NASDAQ, and American Bitcoin that's making its public debut on the NASDAQ as well. Both companies are extremely synergistic, and what allows them to be successful is the relationship that they have that allows each of those businesses to be long Bitcoin or long energy together synergistically.
I am curious, Asher, on the mining side of it, what did the economics actually look like in that space? I mean, we talk so much about it being energy intensive, but the ROI on that, of course, is not quite what it was a few years ago when people were first kind of discovering this space. What does it look like now?
That's right. Our cost to mine a Bitcoin was about a 50% discount to the market. So all-in cost of energy was around $37,000 a coin. All-in costs on a cash basis, including operations management, was around $58,000 a coin. And so extremely competitive. And the reason we're able to do so is the site that we just built, for example, in Amarillo, Texas, we're behind the meter at a 205 megawatt wind farm. So we're directly connected into the wind farm at low cost power. We're connected into the grid as well. We're very good on trading around energy dynamics. And so the way to win in mining today is to be able to control your energy costs, but also be able to have efficient cost of capital. And by combining these two businesses in one strategic partnership, we're able to do so. And so I think historically, people invested in mining companies or people are investing in treasury companies, and the focuses of these businesses are on growth at all costs, where American Bitcoin is focused on Bitcoin accumulation and increasing Bitcoin per share. We will only invest in mining when it is profitable, and we will only raise capital to buy Bitcoin when it is accretive. Otherwise, we'll pause and be able to have a multi-pronged strategy in order to grow Bitcoin appreciation.
So, Eric, when it comes to that accumulation strategy, right now, are you looking primarily for that accumulation to come through the existing coins that are out there now, or is a good chunk of that actually going to come from some of the mining operations?
Well, whichever is better at the time, right? I mean, we have both strategies, and we're going to implement those two strategies well. There's only a certain amount of Bitcoin that can be mined every day, and we're going to harness that to the absolute fullest. And we've got the best facilities. You ought to see them. They're absolutely incredible. They're technological masterpieces. At the same time, we can be creative. We can go out and we can purchase Bitcoin, hold it on the treasury, and again allow the mining to dollar cost average down. And so we're going to be implementing both strategies. Whichever is best for shareholder value is obviously what we're going to prioritize. And again, we're sprinting at this with the mission to win. Everybody right now, all around the world, wants the asset, wants Bitcoin. You see it from the largest Fortune 500 companies to the biggest sovereign wealth funds to nation states to states here in the United States, right? I mean, Texas, you saw what they just did, and obviously Wyoming, and it's really the hot asset of our time. It's an unbelievable store of value. It's doing it better than anyone, and we're going to win the race.
I am curious, though, Eric, in terms of the business strategy itself, I mean, how much do you plan to use leverage, meaning debt financing or other types of financing, to make these purchases? As we know, particularly with strategy, which everyone sort of looks to as the pillar in this, a big part of their success, certainly in terms of their stock, has been Michael Saylor's creative use of financing.
Yeah, key here is being able to manage through bull and bear markets. We've lived through many bear markets, and the companies that are able to survive through those, they get larger, they get bigger. And so being conservative, being risk-focused on how do we grow in a conservative manner where we're able to manage through any bear markets, any pull down in Bitcoin price is critical. And so as we think about leverage, where our main focus primarily is equity, but as we think about leverage, looking at our debt-to-equity ratios, making sure we can sustain large pull downs in Bitcoin, where we have the reserves to be able to pay those down. That is all key and critical. In 2022, I saw everyone around us going bankrupt, from FTX to Celsius to other mining companies, and that's really stuck with us. We grew much larger during that period of time, and as we build American Bitcoin, the key for our shareholders to trust us is to be able to manage through the good times and through the bad times, and fast forward 5 or 10 years, we continue to increase their Bitcoin per share and the amount of Bitcoin that they own, and so we will always be risk-focused.
Yeah, there were certainly a lot of hard lessons learned in 2022 across asset classes, not just in crypto. But Asher, my understanding is right now American Bitcoin has stockpiled about 2,400 Bitcoin. Do you have a near-term target that you're trying or would like to reach?
Look, we launched the company a little over 5 months ago. I think from start of company to public listing, probably a record somewhere there. We've publicly disclosed over 2,000 Bitcoin thus far. We're continuing to accumulate past those public disclosures. And so we look to be one of the largest. When we started this with Eric and Don Jr., there's a very key focus. Let's build the premier Bitcoin company of the world, and we are aiming and we will do so.
And Eric, I want to talk about what this means for you personally as well, because my understanding is you own about 7.5% of American Bitcoin. Bloomberg estimates that that stake is worth about $600 million today. Would you say that this is the most valuable asset that you own at this point?
Katie, we're incredibly fortunate people. I mean, you know what I've done my entire career. I've built some of the greatest buildings on earth. We have one of the greatest property portfolios anywhere. I want to do things that are creative. I want to do things that are great for humanity. I really believe that we're on the forefront of kind of this financial revolution. I got into this business, digital assets. I would have never gotten into it had we not been debanked like dogs, just simply because of the political standpoint of a father who was running for political office. And I found some of the greatest people in the industry that you've ever met, some of the smartest people that you've ever met, with one of the greatest products that you've ever seen. And honestly, I want to bring it to the masses. I want to be a great spokesperson for it. And listen, we're incredibly fortunate in life with or without this endeavor, but we want to win. Anything we do, we want to sprint at very hard. And again, I believe in Bitcoin. I've been a long-term owner of Bitcoin. I've been buying it for several years at this point, and I see its adoption all over the world, and how much it's being embraced globally, and the floodgates are just starting to open, and so it's kind of perfect time. So we're just really excited. I'm excited about our hard assets, and I'm certainly excited about American Bitcoin. And I think you can see, based on the ticker that's been on the screen the entire time, the success we've had today. It's really been an unbelievable day and a lot of hard work that's finally come to fruition. And today is the first of many great ones to come, but we're just excited to be here, guys.
Of course, as a public public company, Eric, I mean, there's obviously going to be a lot more scrutiny over the business practices, particularly given some of the criticisms, which I'm sure you're aware of, that this business venture, as well as others, are directly benefiting from your father's presidency. As you get deeper into this business with American Bitcoin, Hut 8, and others here, how do you plan to address those criticisms, whether legitimate or not?
Well, they're totally illegitimate. I got into this business because I was illegitimately debanked from every financial platform, in the country, which is not only wrong and un-American, but it's, unconstitutional. No different than we started Truth Social because my father got thrown off of Twitter. We started this business because we were deplatformed and we needed to find our own way, and it made me see this kind of great financial revolution that's ahead of us. So no, my father has nothing to do with this business. He has nothing to do with the Trump organization whatsoever. He's obviously running our country, but he's always been a proponent. In fact, I think being a proponent of cryptocurrency probably helped get him elected. He's always been one of those guys who could see the trends far in front of him, and he knew China was pursuing it. He knew the Middle East was pursuing it. He knew every other country around the world was going to pursue it, and he wanted to win this battle for America. And I plan on doing something totally, obviously separate and distinct, but I plan on doing the exact same thing.